For you as someone interested in entering the tech field, there are tons of options and paths in which you can choose. Let's talk about how to figure out where you want to go and how to plan for your next opportunity. The first thing to do is to understand if you want to be a generalist or a specialist. Generally, when we talk students or new grads, we're forced into being generalists simply because we don't have the kind of background experience or knowledge beforehand to get a good grasp of a specific field that we want to really dive into. Bottom line, we just don't have enough experience. The second thing to keep a note here is that for new grad and student postings, they're usually also pretty general. Think back to the last time you applied to postings. Most of them probably just say software engineer intern or product manager intern, without really much specificity about what team you're going to be placed on and the kind of specific work that you'll be using, such as languages or products. The third thing here is that really we just don't get that much of a choice. We're often funneled into teams based off of business need, if someone just left the team, if a new team is rapidly expanding and needing new people. Things that really are out of our control and we kind of just get slated into because we're the next new person coming in to fill an opening. Many students are probably in a very similar position to how I was, where literally anything on my resume was better than nothing. So as long as I got to put something intern with a official looking title, then great. I didn't really care what team I was placed on, and most of the work was generally enjoyable enough as an intern. Some internships though will actually start to point more towards a niche, which can help. Again, the most common internships I've seen are product internships or security internships. Rounding out this whole section about understanding generalist versus specialist, just know that experience really is the bottom line. The more experience you get, the more picky you can be when it comes to future internships or your next job offer, and the cycle continues where you get more and more experience and you can be more and more picky and choosy. Now with our first conversation over, I want to move into the second point about being a specialist and finding your niche. There are tons of niches out there, but to really keep this video brief, I'll focus on the ones that are most popular and that I'm most familiar with, being security and AI ML data science. Both are huge fields with lots of growing opportunities, and both security and AI or ML are kind of the next revolution in terms of understanding where we can go next with technology. Even at new grad level, there are plenty of people that are looking to hire people into security roles and train them up, or AI ML data science roles, given that you have the right criteria for both of these. Based off of what I know with machine learning, they kind of already expect you to have higher education, so a master's degree or even a PhD related to AI ML, and at that point, you've already kind of picked your niche in the first place, so congratulations. For security, I've actually seen plenty of people get hired into security roles with little or no experience related to security. And that leads me to the next point of regardless of which niche you want to get yourself into, be sure to show interest and passion in that particular niche. It's actually a great distinguishing factor as a student or new grad because a lot of people are just uncertain about where they want to go and don't have a great idea. So if you can start to pick a field early on and distinguish yourself there by digging into some research, getting some background on that topic, and starting to show ways in which you actually have passion for this, then that's actually fantastic and you're doing a great job. Again, tying it back to security, there are a lot of technical concepts that you can start to learn on the job, but it's hard to get just your average person interested about the ins and outs of security in the first place. Now, beyond specific job functions, the other kinds of niches I want to talk about are just general company niches. Sure, there are the big techs of the world, but what if you want to work at something that's a little bit more targeted? For me, I had a huge interest in pursuing edtech for a while, actually. Of course, that didn't work out for me, but that's another example in which you can start thinking about niches that best suit you. I'll put a few more up on screen so you can start to think about them, and if any of these do sound interesting to you, then go ahead and do some initial exploration and see if it actually fits your interests and criteria. Now, the third topic of conversation here is being a generalist and finding the kinds of roles that fit you. In the previous conversation about specializing, I talked a lot about CS applications and also company sector. Now let's zoom out and actually just talk about a role for you. If you're a generalist, you don't really care too much about the ins and outs of a company or a specific CS application. Maybe you just enjoy front-end programming, back-end programming, database applications, something like that. Once you start to figure out generally what kinds of things you like to work on, then this will also help narrow you in when it comes to your job search. Of course, in the wide sea of job posting applications, there will probably be tons of just general software engineering or product manager postings like I mentioned earlier. However, if you start to narrow in your focus in your search a little bit, you'll also find that there are probably tons of specific postings as well. Getting a good idea of what kinds of roles that are most interesting to you will also give you a good background of what skills to start digging into. For example, if you want to be a full stack developer, then you should probably have a pretty good handle of front-end technologies and also back-end technologies and working to connect them together. And the good thing about filtering by role is that you're not really locked into a specific niche for the rest of your life. This can give you a good opportunity to jump between different kinds of niches and actually explore and find out which niches you best resonate with and are most interesting to you. The fourth conversation I want to have here is how you can start to figure out your niche, what kinds of roles you're into, and what kind of company sector you may be looking for. The first thing I want to highlight here is try to utilize the college classes you have as best as possible. At least at my university, we had a good scattering of classes across different CS applications and niches, and taking some of those gave me a good idea that I wanted to actually move into a role like security. From there, I was able to take more and more security classes, building up my knowledge, and also building my interest and passion for the field. If you aren't sure about what niche you want to go into, if you want to explore some niches, then just go ahead and sign up for a class or two that sounds interesting and maybe has a friend or two in it so you're not alone in that class. The second thing is just to explore as early as possible. If you have interests in a smattering of fields, then try reaching out to people in those industries and do a coffee chat with them. Learn about their day-to-day, what kind of concepts they utilize within their work, and how you can start building those skills early. I think having that connection can help set good expectations for you around what you're going to be doing in that particular field and how it may play off of your strengths or how it may not play to your strengths. The third and final tip is to try to find something that you actually enjoy. I know that security and AI and ML may be hot fields where you can make a lot of money and tech in general, but at least try to find something that you enjoy doing and that makes you want to go into work every Monday. The more interested and engaged you can get in work, the less soul-sucking it'll be, and the happier you'll be overall at the end of the day. In the end, if you don't figure something out exactly, it's not the end of the world. There's plenty of time ahead of you to try something new and move into a different field if your current job just really isn't doing it for you. As another plug, I have a Discord channel that you can join in the description box down below. Join me and other members of my community to get to know each other, chat, and give suggestions and feedback on how I can be better. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all again next week for a brand new video. Bye.